This way I get to speak to you for a little bit more time. Hi everyone, my name is Adela Cojab, and a lot of you might know a little bit about what I did at NYU. What a lot of people don't know is what came behind the scenes for me to actually get there. So let me walk you through it. My family also came from Syria and Lebanon, but they went to Mexico before we moved here in 2001. Of all places, my family chose Deal, New Jersey, and I went to Hillel Yeshiva from pre-K all the way until 12th grade. Now, in elementary school, I was pretty much like every other student. I notoriously couldn't spell. You can ask Mrs. Brosniak. She said I was brilliant, but cannot spell for my life. When I got to middle school, I was also like any student, but a lot of people don't talk about harder things that happen in the home. And my parents got divorced, and my dad moved back to Mexico. My mom found herself in a difficult position, and like many women in the community, she had married at 18 and had kids shortly after. My mom decided not only to go back to college, but to build a career. My mom taught me I could provide. My mom taught me everything that a woman can be. And from the moment I was 12, she told me I'd go to college and have a career. From there, I got to middle school, and middle school was hard with everything happening. And I had a teacher who was a mentor. Her name was Mrs. Tallman. She realized that I wasn't doing as well as I should be. She pulled me to the side, and she told me I could work hard. She told me I wasn't doing my homework. She said I was brilliant, but for some reason, I'm not quite hitting the grades I should. And under her guidance, she told me I could be something. She told me I should run for middle school president, and I did, and I won. From middle school presidency, I get to high school, and I have a completely different outlook. I come from the middle school presidency, high on my heels, I joined student government. I'm on mock trial, on Model UN, as part of Hillel Yeshiva debate team. I was on the Hillel Yeshiva dance team, I was in the school play. I was doing chesed, I was with DSN, I was with SDH. I was doing everything that the community was giving me to offer, and I really felt like the world was my oyster. I wanted to, at one point, work at the United Nations. I had all these dreams. And instead, my aunt Shela came up to me, and she offered me an internship at the World Jewish Congress. That's an internship I kept for 4 years. But before I got to the World Jewish Congress, I took AP Calculus. And I realized in high school in AP Calculus, I was the only girl in my class. After taking my first calculus test, I got a 46, a grade I had never gotten in my life. And I see my mom laughing because she remembers I called her from the bathroom, hysterical crying, and asked her to pick me up from school. And she said no. She told me to work harder. I told Mrs. Cantor, my math teacher, I wanted to drop into a lower class in math, and she said, no, you just have to work harder. And they pushed me, and I did. And maybe I didn't get straight A's in calculus, but ultimately I did make it to NYU. Before NYU, I get to my internship at the World Jewish Congress, the internship I kept for 4 years. And at 20 years old, I became a published author and contributed to a chapter in a book. When I showed up to NYU, again, I knew I wanted to change the world. I didn't know how. I was hoping to work at the UN. I was hoping to end human trafficking. And instead, I was greeted with the most hostile Israel environment in almost any US campus. After an anti-Israel activist burned an Israeli flag and another activist assaulted a Jewish student, and the school did nothing, I decided it was time to take action. I spoke to some lawyers, and I asked if I'd have a case against the school. They explained that religion wasn't a protected category under the Civil Rights Act when it came to discrimination law. I asked if there was anything we can do, and they told me it'd be very difficult, but that my case was strong enough to possibly become a cornerstone in Jewish law in the United States. I called my mom again, and I said, Mom, I think I'm going to sue NYU. She asked me if I was sure. And I said yes, that I couldn't imagine graduating from NYU without filing this case, without finally standing up for the Jewish people. She told me she didn't understand a lot of this, but that she fully supported me, and if this is what I felt was my calling, that I should 100% go for it. And I did. I sued NYU about 2 months before I graduated. It was going to be a difficult case. They told me, in all likelihood, you'll lose, but you should make publicity. So I started speaking at conferences. I started speaking on podcasts. I was interviewed by Fox, New York Times, New York Post. And one day I got a call from the White House. And they told me that President Trump heard about my case, that he thinks anti-Semitism is a very big issue on college campuses. And they say it'd be his honor if I'd stand next to him on stage and talk about my experiences. I thought about it, and I accepted. 3 days after speaking on stage with the president, I got another call from the White House, to tell me that effective immediately, an executive order would be signed to officially include Judaism under Title VI protections of the Civil Rights Act. Now, I take a step back and I look at all of this. I look at what I was able to achieve, as they say. And I realized, first of all, that it wasn't an Ashkenazi yeshiva league from New York or Ramaz that filed this case that changed the law in the US across all college campuses. It was a Syrian girl from Deal. But more importantly, I realized everything I learned along the way, that I could provide, that I could be someone, that if I work hard, I can achieve, and that if I exemplify a woman of valor, an Eshet Chayil, you will succeed. And I started thinking about Eshet Chayil, something that we actually learned in Hillel Yeshiva when we were in high school. Eshet Chayil, which we say every Friday, isn't talking about the perfect woman. It's actually listing different characteristics. But at the same time, it talks about being a merchant. It talks about sales. It talks about craftsmanship. It talks about artistry. What it does is it's listing all of the things that a woman can be while keeping a Jewish household. I learned to exemplify a woman of valor from all of the women in my life, from my mom to my great aunt Shella, who has taught me so much. And I know that I can hopefully one day not only provide but change the world. And I was lucky enough to have these strong women as mentors. With Propel, we can expand that tenfold. If every girl in the community had mentors, had someone to turn to, had someone that tells them that you can provide, you can be someone, you can achieve, then imagine what our community can be. Because Syrian women are just as part of the community as everyone else. So thank you again to Propel for everything that you do, and thank you to everyone for supporting our work.
Good job.